So, Hummin is an alternative rock band that was formed in Champaign, Illinois, and you may know them from their breakthrough album, You'd Prefer an Astronaut. Now, Hum is an alternative rock band, but many like to call them a kind of more shoegaze, heavy metal, somewhere in the vein of Deftones. They have a massive influence on modern day music, and here's why. I mean, these guys were straight up unique. Matt Talbot's vocals were unlike any other. He sang about cosmic skies, but in a very deadpan tone. This contrasted with his very deep, heartfelt lyrics that really made you reflect and think about your own life. These songs he made were thick, very layered, but also melodic in their own way. As mentioned before, they also had very spacey, sciencey imagery with talking about astronauts, stars, pods, comets, and the overall atmosphere. There was also huge dynamic contrasts, very ginormous, slow choruses that built up over the song went by, and the riffs were super hypnotic, super devastating. And their impact definitely goes way past just their song Stars. But as it is their most popular, let's talk about it for a little bit. What even is the song about? And why did it get so popular? First, it is important to realize that all songs definitely have multiple meanings, and the way we interpret them is very different from many others. But let's just at least think about what we thought that Matt Talbot was talking about when he wrote this song. The song opens up with the lyrics, "She thinks she's missed the train to Mars, she's out back counting stars." Now, you can look at this as a way of him describing some kind of disconnect or emotional breakdown, as whoever he's talking about in the story is kind of lost in their own thoughts, sitting out back counting stars, kind of showing a way that this person's not really in tune with their own emotions. They don't really know what's happening, but they are actively doing something. By the second time he says this, the song really starts to amp up. You know, the thick wall of sound really kicks in, and you just start to hear the guitar go very crazy. This is the part in the song where, you know, it seems why the song got so popular. The riff to this song, while being very simple, is just so catchy and does really feel like you're floating in space. As the song progresses, Matt talks about how he is bringing back something that she wants, but nothing that she needs. This kind of shows further neglect, something that is maybe harming his partner, that he just brings it to her because she wants it, and it's physically or emotionally hurting her. Now, this song has a great conclusion, great bridge, but the thing about it is sad, and it does struggle with some very real and honest themes. Now, they are a 90s band, and while this song was brilliant and just well written all around, there was one major flaw. The song was just weird compared to what most people were used to. In my own personal opinion, I think this is actually one of the reasons why this band isn't so popular as it is today. Even though it did influence further bands in the future, it also just really didn't find its own place in its current era as well. I don't think people were really ready for these concepts, the imagery, and just the sound, the raw power of it at the time. I highly encourage you to really give You'd Prefer an Astronaut a listen, with other amazing songs like I Hate It Too, which describes a failing relationship that nobody wants to be in, and it's very thick guitars that really add to the song and give kind of like a honestly Smashing Pumpkins vibe at some of the times. And that album also contains other great songs like The Pod and I Like Your Hair Long, which really shows up how melodic they could be. But they have even further great projects in their discography. One of the albums that you can really tell that they put a lot of their heart into is Downward is Heavenward. Most people do usually consider this their masterpiece, and pretty much the most time that they spent on an album, where they really found their sound and their place in the music scene. This album is truly beautiful and might be their best work. Honestly, it is a masterpiece of the 90s, and it is something else that I really heavily encourage you to look into. The opener, Isle of the Cheetah, serves as a soaring, heavy opener, and it really does set the tone for the album's spacey, atmospheric themes. If You Are to Bloom is another great one. This song is very slow, unlike the other ones, and uses acoustic strumming, which also bursts into very heavy electric guitars, just like a lot of their other songs. This song really does talk about how someone is slowly fading or blooming as they pass away, and there's a lot of grief and emotion in this song. This album contains so much of what makes Hum their own unique and beautiful band, and their tracks are endless that are so good. This album honestly made Hum a cult classic of a band. And later on, they would take a huge break, but in 2020, they actually did come back with an album called Inlet, which is an emotional payoff, honestly. It was patient, it was slow, and it was Hum. They never lost their iconic sound. Now, what I want you guys to gain from all of this is that Hum didn't almost become famous. They actually were quite popular, and even today they're quite popular, but they did need time to find its audience, and it is very inspiring as you watch their journey through and through as they just kind of keep doing what they love and honestly get it down to almost perfection. And this is why Hum is worth listening to. Hum is honestly one of my favorite bands, and I think everyone should try to listen to them. They're very interesting, and they just do provide a lot of insight on the 90s and motions and sound that honestly is popular in the modern day. I think a key takeaway from all this is try something out. I'll see you guys next time.